Assassination of American President John Kennedy took place in such a way that he was commuting through Dealey Plaza in Dallas, Texas, in his highly secured motorcade. At the time, he was accompanied by Secret Service agents and a full police motorcade escort. The FBI had also kept an eye on the entire route days before the incident. Yet, on November 22, 1963, he was assaulted at Dealey Plaza and was killed then. Within minutes of this incident, the CIA, FBI, Secret Service and police were on the scene, but despite the extreme efforts, they could only confiscate lone shooter Lee Oswald. This leaves us in doubt whether it was a planned conspiracy or just one lone shooter who fooled the world's top secret agencies and shot the most famous president from a mere few meters away. This official story does not convince anyone. If the president had to go from the airport to the Trade Mart, there was a more straightforward and quicker route available, so why was his motorcade taken through the heart of the city? Who planned this route? Officially, the person who shot him was a coincidence or a plan, but the fact is that just a month ago, he got a job at the book depository on just one phone call. But how? In the video footage of the shooting scene, this girl wearing a scarf was seen taking a photograph of the murder. Why could she not be found till date, and what was her connection with all this? Happy Amdeed, once again, Nazarene is today the 27th of November 2023, but a full 60 years ago today, American President John F. Kennedy was killed by attacking his motorcab. It is believed that the top secret agencies of the US have hidden a lot from the assassination and did not make the reality public, and there are many reasons to think so. The first of which is the selection of the venue where the president actually had to go. President JFK had to make a political speech in the Texas city of Dallas, for which two options were kept. One was Trade Mart and the other venue was Women's Building. White House. There was a recommendation that the venue of the Women's Building be selected, but the governor of Texas, John Connally, wanted the president to go to the Trade Mart. The reason being that the Trade Mart was a banquet hall, while the interior of the Women's Building was not suitable for the president to be there. Finally, on the 14th of November, that is 8 days before the assessment, the venue of the Trade Mart was selected, but this news was not made public. Now it is time. Now, normally presidential motorcades are taken through a route where interruptions or turns are minimal. There was also one such route that could bypass the city and take the president from outside to the Trade Mart, but it was not selected. But the route was selected from within the city to pass through the school book depository, from where the shooter attacked the president. If you think that this route was planned to attack the particular president, then you are wrong. Yes, this was done on the president's own request because he wanted to pass through the crowd of people. But if it is assumed that the Women's Building was selected instead of the venue of the Trade Mart, then the president's motor cadre would have gone towards the east through this main road. This would also increase the gap of the book depository, and it would have been difficult for the shooter to target. Because the president's wife, First Lady Jacqueline, who always sat on his left side, would come between the shooter and the president. One thing of 100 things was very important in the planning of the president's assassination: to have the venue of the Trade Mart, and as you know, this selection was made by the governor of Texas, John Connally. His intentions cannot be doubted because at the time when the president was attacked, he himself was sitting with his wife in the presidential limousine. He was also shot, but his life was saved. And secondly, Governor Connally was already opposed to this route. He wanted to access the Trade Mart from outside the city, but there was someone who had calculated all these things well in advance. The president's motorcade and venue were made public only 4 days before his assassination. That is to say, no one had this information beforehand. However, Something happened in the school book depository 2 months ago, which suggests that someone already had this information. Yes, exactly 2 months ago, there was a sudden shortage of staff in the school book depository. In September 1963, a person named Wesley Frazier received a call from the employment agency offering him a job in the book depository. Wesley Frazier lived in a town named Irving, half an hour away from there. He arrived at the book depository on the 13th of the following month and was employed on the spot by the superintendent, Roy Truly. A month later, on October 15th, Wesley's neighbor also made a call to the superintendent of the book depository, and coincidentally, he too was hired the very next day. Wesley's neighbor was none other than Lee Oswald, who was to be arrested in the case of the murder of President JF. After 39 days, due to Lee Oswald not having a driving license, he could not do the Outback daily, so he rented a room in Dallas. He would go to his home in Irving after office timings with Wesley on weekends and go back to the book depository with Wesley on Monday morning. This routine continued for about a month, but just one day before the president's assassination, on November 21st, this routine was broken. On Thursday, November 21st, Lee Oswald went to his home Irving with Wesley because he had to say the next morning when he left home to go to the office with Oswald Wesley, he had a long paper bag in his hand in which Oswald said that there were curtain rods which he was carrying to put in his room. Just half an hour before the assassination, on the 6th floor of the Oswald Book Depository, some of his colleagues, it was 12 o'clock in the day and it was lunchtime. Everyone went to the first floor to have lunch, but Oswald was present alone on the 6th floor. A lot of people had gathered outside the depository to see the president's motorcade. A few employees of the depository were also busy watching this scene from the windows of the 5th floor, exactly at 12:30, the president's motorcade, in which the president is sitting on the right side of the car and the first lady is sitting on his left side. The governor and his wife were present in the front. As soon as the presidential limousine book depository takes a left turn, the whole area echoes with the sound of the first fire. Coincidentally, at that time, a reporter was recording this whole scene in his camera. Some people said that 2 shots were fired, but some also heard the sound of 3, but 1 bullet hit the president's neck and the other on his head. The limousine driver drives the car away from the location without waiting, but President John F. Kennedy probably died around the same time. Someone said his tie was black and someone said it was white, but a police officer at the motorcade saw a man shooting from the 6th floor immediately after the first shot, so he wasted no time and went into the building up to the 6th floor. When he got there, however, no one was there. Within minutes, the entire building was sealed by police and FBI, and all the employees inside were prevented from leaving. One person was missing from all these employees, and that was none other than Oswald. Lee Oswald probably left the book depository immediately after committing this act. He went to his room first, changed his clothes there, and immediately came out with his pistol. The police, already on his tail, had alerted the city patrol. A patrol officer saw Oswald but couldn't do anything before the police, who were already on high alert, had alerted the entire city's patrol. A patrol officer spotted Oswald, but before he could do anything, Oswald fired 4 shots at the police officer and killed him on the spot. Oswald was now hiding in a nearby movie theater. Soon the police found him, arrested him, and took him to the police headquarters. For the next 2 days, the police, FBI, and CIA interrogated him extensively, but this interrogation was not recorded. No one has any proof of what happened behind closed doors. On November 4th, when he was being transferred from the police headquarters to jail, a man shot him in front of the media and the police. Lee Oswald also died in the same hospital where John F. Kennedy was taken. This was the story that was officially disclosed, but many witnesses said it was not the man they saw on the 6th floor window. Before being shot, Lee kept saying in front of the world media that he was innocent. Newspaper reports in the hall asked me that question. If we break down the whole story as per police, Lee Oswald cleverly and strategically secured a job at the book depository and planned all this single-handedly, staying under the radar of the FBI, CIA, and police's intelligence. However, people wonder if Oswald planned everything so perfectly on his own, then why did he make so many mistakes in the end, such as running away from the building instead of blending in, murdering a police officer and thereby drawing more suspicion towards himself, or then hiding in a movie theater? Several investigative reports were published after the assassination of President John F. Kennedy, but every report seemed to only muddy the waters. Following Oswald's demise, a theory was birthed suggesting his killers were the same entities behind the assassination plot. If this was indeed a conspiracy, insiders would have been essential. The FBI and CIA are suspected by many due to Oswald being a former US Marine and under FBI surveillance. Yet, this information was concealed from the President's Secret Service during the motorcade's route. Evidence was surreptitiously removed during the investigation. The 3 bullet shells found on the 6th floor were relocated without being photographed first, only returning for the photo op. The police's early footage also vanished. Despite this, a consistent figure across the majority of the shooting's images and videos was a girl in a scarf. Identified by her camera, she captured nearly every moment of the president's assassination. Adorned with a scarf known as a babushka, she was dubbed the Babushka Lady. Many theorize she was integrated into the plot, tasked to document the event. However, the FBI has yet to locate the Babushka Lady.